Alright, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. So this video is going to be the Texas Pro preview video. We've got the competitor list for you guys. And it seems like we're going to have to start calling this Texas Pro the Andrew Jacked Show. Because this will be the third year in a row that Andrew Jacked will be using this show to qualify for the Olympia. I mean, I think the assumption is safe that he's probably going to win this show. He doesn't do any other shows throughout the year. This is the one that he picks to qualify. I will be honest, though, we really haven't seen much at all of Andrew Jacked's physique. I think the most that we've seen of Andrew was back in May at the Pittsburgh Pro guest posing. So let's go through this competitor list. I'll talk about some of the other guys that I think will be towards the top near Andrew Jacked, but likely, I mean, it's Andrew Jacked. And looking at this lineup, frankly, most of these guys have never even been to the Olympia. So you've got Alexander Bessedin, Lewis Breed, Christian Caldwell, Bobby Cartelemi, Yisheng Chen, Nathan Epler coming back after a top 4 finish in Chicago, Stephen Frazier, Dorian Haywood, Jordan Hutchinson, who just did really well at the Tampa Pro, top 3, Andrew Jacked, of course, Anthony Gell, Felix Norman, Carlos Philbrick, Jose Placencia, Nathan Stiles, and Mariusz Tomzuk. So I think the obvious choices from this competitor list as far as the top guys, of course, Andrew Jacked. I think Lewis Breed will probably be in that mix. He was top 5 at Tampa. And, you know, I got to say, I'm a little surprised that we're not going to be seeing Vlad Sukaruchko here. We're not going to be seeing Tim Budesheim, who's done like every show in the States. We're not going to be seeing Mo Fuda back here. We're not going to be seeing John De La Rosa back here. So most of the Tampa Pro lineup, it looks like, is sitting this one in Texas out. And look, frankly, do I think there's anybody here that's really going to give Andrew Jacked a serious run for his money? I honestly don't, unless Andrew is really off here. And again, we really don't have much idea of how Andrew is looking. He really hasn't posted many physique updates at all, and that's pretty typical for Andrew Jacked. He posts a lot of training footage and stuff, you know, wearing hoodies, wearing long sleeves. He's kind of always done that, but I would assume he's coming in here as the very solid favorite to win this thing. And again, no disrespect to this lineup, but if one of these guys did win this, beat Andrew Jacked, and pull off the upset, that would be probably one of the biggest upsets we've seen in a very long time in bodybuilding. But let's talk about some of the guys that I think are going to do really well here. Nathan Epler is one of them. These are the physique updates that he posted today. I've become a really big fan of Nathan Epler's physique. I was really impressed with what he brought to the Chicago Pro. Conditioning-wise, he was just on point, peaked perfectly for that show. A top 4 finish was actually huge for him. You might not think it, but coming over from 212, being a brand new open guy, one of the smaller guys in that lineup, doing as well as he did because he brought such a good package. His conditioning was so good. I think he's got great lines, very aesthetic physique, great V-taper, and just great overall presentation on stage. Really big fan of this guy, and I'm a really big fan of what 212 guys have been able to do in open, even bringing a smaller frame or a smaller physique, maybe not being the biggest guy. And I know that guys like Derek and Hadi are kind of in a league of their own, well above where Nathan Epler is at in his career now, but I think the example of a Derek or a Hadi maybe not being the biggest guy on stage, but they know they've got to really bring it presentation-wise. They come in super conditioned, super tight, they peak perfectly. There's really no flaws in their physiques, and they've got, you know, like Derek, when he was in 212, actually reminds me a lot of Nathan Epler's physique, and I believe they're both from Indiana originally. But Derek, if you guys remember in 212, he was criticized for the size of his legs, and I would say that's really the one thing I'd like to see Nathan bring up is a little bit more size to the lower body. But overall, like I said, very aesthetic so far, very good conditioning, very just pleasing physique to look at, and he does kind of remind me a lot of those younger years of Derek Lunsford. You know, again, obviously, maybe not the back, because Derek has always had one of the most insane backs in bodybuilding, even with that weight restriction of 212, and I don't think that Nathan is quite there yet. But again, I can kind of see some parallels between him and Derek early in Derek's career. So I would expect to see, and I would like to see Nathan probably in that top 4 range at this show as well. Is he going to be a guy that's going to topple Andrew Jack? Probably not, but I think he's going to be in that mix for one of those top placings here. I've been very impressed with him, and especially what we saw in Chicago. Now, another guy that I think is going to be a big factor here in Texas is Jordan Hutchinson. I was very impressed with him in both Chicago and in Tampa. Now, Jordan was the guy that placed 3rd most recently in Tampa, right behind Mo Fuda. And I want to point that out because everybody talking about how great Mo Fuda looked, and he did look great. He was just a little bit off conditioning-wise, needs to work on his back. But Jordan was actually closer in the eyes of the judges on the scorecards. Jordan was closer to beating Mo than Mo was to beating John. So Jordan is really in this conversation definitely as being a top guy in Texas because he had one of the judges voting for him to beat Mo. If you guys remember in my video yesterday where I talked about the scorecards between Mo and John, Mo actually had one judge that had him in 3rd, and that same judge would have had Jordan in 2nd. Whereas John De La Rosa, every judge had him in 1st at prejudging. Every judge had him in 1st at finals. That wasn't the case for Mo. So Jordan actually had one judge having him ahead of Mo, which is more than Mo could say for him versus John De La Rosa. So Jordan was really in that mix. And I think you saw that where in both prejudging and finals, they moved Jordan in the center and moved Mo out, comparing Jordan and John. So he did do really well in Tampa and Chicago, much better so in Tampa. But this is his latest physique update from today, 4 days out from the Texas Pro. He said he's weighing 249.2 pounds this morning, and he thinks this will be his best ever. And then the other guy that I think will be in that top 4 is Lewis Breed, who we just saw at the Tampa Pro, taking 5th place. Very muscular guy, really good conditioning. Maybe not as balanced as Nathan or as Jordan, but pretty big, pretty dense, pretty grainy conditioned guy from what we saw in Tampa. I think he'll likely be top 4 here in this lineup. Like I said, there's several guys missing from the Tampa lineup just last weekend. And I don't want to discourage these guys because nothing is impossible in bodybuilding. So while it might seem like on paper you've got this superstar big name, Andrew Jack, in bodybuilding everybody is beatable. Now likely Andrew Jack is going to come in and win this thing. I think all odds would suggest that. But I don't want to discourage these guys to say none of them could beat him, because if Andrew Jack comes in super, super off and one of these guys is peeled to the bone, maybe not as big as Andrew, but anything could happen here. Bodybuilding is never a foredrawn conclusion. There's always wild cards. There's so many different things that could go wrong, so many different things that could go right, so many variables. So while it might seem, looking at this lineup, Andrew Jack is just going to come in and stomp this thing, and while I do think that'll likely be the situation, I don't want to assume anything because these guys are really bringing it. And how exciting would that be? I mean, if one of these relatively newer guys, definitely lesser heard of, lesser known guys, if one of them came in and beat Andrew Jack, I mean, that would be huge. And somebody was just asking me the other day if I have if I know who's qualified. So I wanted to go through the qualified Mr. Olympia list so far, with just a few more Olympia qualifying opportunities on the horizon before October 12th, which is the Olympia. It's coming up a little bit earlier this year than in years past during COVID. But so far, you've got Derek Lunsford, Hadi Chupin, Samson Dauda, Theo LaGuerrier, Raphael Brandau, Martin Fitzwater, Nick Walker, Tonio Burton, Akeem Williams, Brandon Curry, William Bonac, Behruz Tabani, Nathan Diasha, John Jewett, Muhammad Fuda, and John De La Rosa. And also, of course, Big Ramy is qualified because he won the Olympia, so he's always going to be qualified. But who knows what the situation with this Big Ramy is with Big Ramy. It's almost at this point not even really worth speculating on because Ramy is such a mystery. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about the Texas Pro lineup. Do you think this is going to be just an easy win for Andrew Jack? Do you think anybody in this list has a chance at really seriously challenging Andrew? And what do you think about the current Olympia qualified competitor list Do you think we'll see maybe a return of Big Ramy? Do you think we'll see Hutchinson reclaim his title? Do you think we'll see Derek have a first successful title defense? Or do you think we could have an entirely new champion this year? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification icon, all that good stuff. And as always, I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at NICKS&P, my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.